Hey there, Peter Vexelman here with my good friends Jerry Scott and Chad Wolf on the other side. We are here with partner-driven real estate investing, guys. Very simple. What we do is we do real estate deals with everyday people across the United States. Now, Jerry and Chad, I did that on purpose, said everyday people, because you two are not everyday people across the United States. You two are not newbies in this business, and I think you guys have a pretty cool viewpoint into partner driven because let's face it, there's a lot of people that just get started with us from zero in the real estate investing. You guys are not starting out from zero as real estate investors. So Chad, tell us a little bit about like your specific background before you met us as it relates to real estate, being a real estate investor.
Sure. Yeah, I own between myself and my partner 200 plus doors as rentals, small multi and single family. Jerry and I also own a portfolio together of rentals, and then we do several flips a year together, mostly fix and flips, and we just weren't. I mean, we were doing them, but we weren't doing them at the scale we wanted to, and so we want to ramp that part of our business up. Thus, that's what kind of brought us here.
Well, and I think you answered the next question, and maybe Jerry, you could expand upon that. Like, why does somebody that owns dozens of doors, why does somebody that's done deals, kind of what is your viewpoint? And initially, when you looked at partner driven, what's the advantage to you guys?
Good question. So biggest thing for us was we were looking at, well, we were making a very good income off of it. What we really wanted to do was scale it to a lot bigger operation. And so we took the time and looked at partner driven and looked at somebody that was going to be a strong partner for us. You know, we'd find the deals and bring them in. And so we don't look at it as giving up money. We look at it as making more money and scaling that up because of partner driven is able to help us along the way and scale our business a lot quicker than, you know, doing 1 or 2 a month. Now we're able to do 4 to 5 a month.
Well, it's not just the capital side of things, which people obviously, especially just getting started, it's not easy to get that side without friends or family or something. But I mean, the database is great. I mean, and the partner resources, we've been very pleased with. You know, we just had a discussion the other day, one that we put in as a fix and flip, and we hadn't really looked at it as a wholesale. And when your team brought it to us and said, why would you put that work in and take all that time? It made a lot more sense as a wholesale. And so, I mean, the resources are also something that we find very valuable.
Yeah, you know, obviously you guys do have this unique vantage point coming in with experience and, you know, looking at this not from a jump start, but looking at this from a scalability. And because of all that, literally, I know we just got started. We already have stuff on the books. You guys got more coming in. I know the first one we're set to close here, hopefully in the next week or so. What kind of, talk a little bit about margins. What are you guys seeing in your end from a margins perspective?
I mean, I honestly think that the numbers that you guys put forth to the partners, which is the kind of the 65% rule, I think it really fits to our market. Obviously, we try to get better better deals than that as we're negotiating, but we've got one right now, and I can walk you through the absolute numbers of it because it's
actually, I think is it the 408?
Well, 408, but we got one that just went live today that we started before we partnered with you.
Talk about it. This is new to me also.
yeah. So it goes live actually today. It's 109 Willow. That was a $72,000 purchase, $34,000 rehab, and it's going live today at 1999. So that kind of gives you some real numbers. 408's a little different. That's a $40,000 purchase with a $20,000 rehab, which I think as long as we stay tight, we can hopefully come in a little bit cheaper. And the one down the street went live for 115 and sold in 3 days for 118. From a margin standpoint, I mean, the 408, I think, is probably in our market a realistic example of the low-hanging fruit that's there if you're willing to go out and knock doors and make phone calls. And then the ones that have the bigger margins in them, that one was a referral to us just because we're in the market. People say, don't you guys buy houses? And that came about through a referral. So
Yeah, that's awesome. Not bad first deals. I think over $100,000 of profit. Could be worse, right?
yeah, yeah.
You,
Yep, I
you know,
mean,
one of the things I always want to do is I always want kind of my philosophies, part of being in partner driven is a community of people helping people. And you started just a little bit here talking about that, Chad. But for the people looking at this, share a little bit. How are you guys finding your deals? Like, how would somebody go about finding a deal in their marketplace?
yeah, it's a great question. And Jerry and I talked about this prior to coming on board with you guys. And then my contention with him was not only if you're just getting started, being able to figure out how to price a deal, but we do the same thing. I mean, as soon as we picked your database and really said, we're going to ramp this part of our business up. I mean, I'll give you an example. One we put in with you at 208 Seminole, that's next to one that we had rehabbed and rented. The weeds were grown up. We went up and got the address, got on the tax records, couldn't find a good contact number. So actually I went to Facebook and found the owner, and it was older lady. And I sent a Facebook message, and then she came back and said, I didn't know what I was going to do with this. And so, I mean, all ways and all ways, right? I mean, if you're going to ramp it up, you've got to be willing to knock doors and make phone calls and tell your friends and family. And in our case, our tenants, we just got back from the one on 37th Street before we called you, and that we're doing with you, our first deal with you. And there was a situation that the gentleman that sold that to us lives next door because that was his parents' house. And now his daughter just stopped by and said, look, they're having to move out too. And because they're elderly, would you guys buy this? And so, I mean, we haven't even shown that to you yet, but it's right next door to the one that we're currently doing. And so I think there's a number of ways to do it, but you just have to get started and do it.
It's always amazing to me, and I'm sure you guys hear it all the time. People always like, oh, I can't do this in Maya. Where I live, it's impossible to do it. And I always tell people the basics are the basics. Like, I've been at this thing for 2 decades. You guys have been in it for a while. Isn't it crazy? The basics actually still work in this business. Isn't that true?
I mean, at the end of the day, you can have a run and shoot. You can run the wishbone. You still got to block and tackle. It's just that easy, right? I mean, it's real. And so, yeah, I mean, we agree. And, I will tell you, especially if I was just getting started, having a basket of resources behind you and a community behind you puts you well ahead of somebody who's just out trying to figure it out. But yeah, blocking and tackling is blocking and tackling.
Talk to somebody from maybe a beginner's perspective. How valuable is it to have somebody by your side when you're trying to build this business?
Here's the big deal is knowing how to get the contracts. You can get on a call daily, or you can talk to a coach and ask them a question, having access to somebody. But the biggest thing is if you wait until all lights are green, you'll never go to town. So you just got to go. Don't wait until you know everything. Just get going, do something.
That is so profound. It is amazing to me how many people are waiting to get ready, to analyze, and even when people sometimes get in this business, it's the same thing, paralysis of analysis. So I'm going to finish off on this. Yeah, I know you guys don't know this, but Julie calls me about you guys. I don't know, a couple of weeks ago. I know you guys just got started with this. He goes, we got us something. And I know when Julie calls me and says something, that means we got like an unbelievable partner or partners here. And I'm not going to tell you exactly what she said, but she spent about 5 minutes talking about you guys to me. And she's like, and remember, we were all kind of building our own, we're building our relationship and all this. But Julie's like, these guys are special. These guys are really, really special. And we're going to go very, very far with you guys. So anyway, guys, listen, I appreciate you taking the time. I look forward to a ton more deals. And even beyond that, I really hope an amazing friendship that forms along the way. So thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate that.
Yeah, we appreciate the kind words. Yeah, and for sure. We echo the same sentiment back to you guys.
Awesome.